Hi, hello everyone. This is RK. Welcome back to my channel Bytecode with RK. If you are new to my channel, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. For notifications, click on bell icon. If you are looking for the theoretical part of the this session, please click on the link on the top right corner. So, in the last session, we have seen theoretical part. In today's session, we will see the practical way of implementing static mesh in interface. Let's start the static mesh interface by creating an interface. Let me create an interface. Here I have given interface name as interface static interface 1. From the definition, if any method in interface is preceded by static keyword, then we call that method as a static method in interface. Let me write a normal method in interface. Void m1 is the so here I have a interface name static interface 1 and it having m1 method. So if the method in the interface preceded by static keyword, then those methods are called the static mesh in interface. Okay, let me write a statement inside it. Okay, so this is the interface and static interface 1, and it's having a method m1, and this m1 method is preceded by static keyword, then this method becomes the static method in a interface. Let's implement all the theoretical points into a practical way. The first point in the theoretical part is static meshes are public by default, which means public is optional before the static mesh in interface. So static methods are public by default. Writing the public is optional in front of the static mesh. The second point is write any number of static mesh in interface. So here I have one public static method m1 is there, so I want to add one more static method. So I am removing the public before the static, because anyway static is by default public only. So this is the m2 method. If you see, I have added two static methods here, so there is no restriction from the in interface. You can write any number of static methods inside it. So the next point is static methods cannot be overridden. If is in this interface we have two static methods, so I will try to override one of the static method in another class. So for that we need one more class. Let me create another class. Class name is static method class. So I have created a static method class. So to override the static methods from this interface, static interface 1, I need to implement an interface. So here the static method is implemented by the interface static interface 1. Now I need to override that method, one of the method from the static interface 1. Let me copy this one, copy and paste in the overriding method. If you see here, I will put override for the method. m1 of type static method must override or implement to super type method. So now it is throwing, when you try to override the static method from the interface into implementation class, if you see here the compiler throwing error. The method m1 of type static method must override or implement a super type method, means it was throwing a compile time error. So that's why static methods cannot be overridden in implementation class. But if you want to create the same as in the static method class, you can create the same method. For that I am just commenting the at the rate override annotation, because now I am not overriding the static method, I am directly creating a new method in static method class. Okay, so this statement is from the static method, not from the static interface one. So that's why I have changed this statement to static method. Okay, so let me try to run this program. To run this one I need to call that method m1. See, static method double colon m1 method. So when you try to call this method, it is not overriding, it just calling the from the static method class only. So the third point is static methods cannot be overridden. If you try to override, it will throw the compiler error. But if you want to create the same static method in the implementation class, you can create, but you cannot override that one. Without overriding, you can create the same class, whatever we have in the interface, you can use the same method in a static method class. The next point is use when changes are minor, like default as an interface. Static methods also used for the small changes and small logics only, not for the big changes or big logic. So that's about it. And the next point is backward compatibility. See, this interface whatever we have created, right? Static interface is, suppose assume I have created a static interface long back, means past somewhere I have created this interface. So now I want to add a new functional to this interface. Let me try to add an method void m3. M3 is the method, so I'm created. So I have added new functionality to the static interface one. So what will happen? Generally whatever methods in the interface are by default abstract only. So now I have added abstract method to the static interface. What will happen? Wherever whatever the classes implementing this static interface one, right? So there it will force the classes, implementation classes, like the type static method must implement the inherited abstract method static interface 1.m3. So it was telling to override or that method, whatever method newly added method, right? That method should override in this class, because this method is implemented by static interface and it having abstract method. It's having abstract method m3. So static method interface forces the static method class to override this m3 method. Okay, so what happens now? This case, for one class I can change directly, I can directly implement that method, whereas in real time what will happen? Suppose I have thousands of classes and those classes are implemented by this interface. So what will happen if we add the new function to the static interface one? Wherever the class is this interface is implemented by those classes, right? Means 1000 classes should override that method in it. So what will happen? 1000 places we need to change, so which will affect the existing functionality, right? So for that only they have introduced static methods in interface. So if we add the interface, right? So before this I have added, anyway I am commenting this one. So I have static methods here, but even I implemented that interface, this static method class, right, implemented by static interface. Even the static method is implemented by static interface one. Static interface one is not forcing the static method to override the these two static methods m1 and m2. So static methods cannot be overridden in a implementation class. That way we can achieve the backward compatibility. The sixth point is at a time a method cannot be preceded by static and default. Suppose here, if you see here, I have a method and it is having static. The method m1 m2 cannot be preceded by static and default at a time. If you see here, I will try to add default. See, compare throwing error. See, illegal combination of modifiers for the interface method m2 only one of the abstract default or static, means it will allow only one of the keyword only, not both at a time, default and static. So either it should be abstract or default or static only, but you cannot add multiple keywords at a time to the same method. The next point is the way of calling static methods from the interface into the implementation class. So if anyone want to call these static methods, right, static methods into this static method class, they can directly call with the name, interface name, static interface one dot method name. See, directly you can call interface name, this one, this is the method name. This way you can call the methods. Suppose if I want to call the second method also, dot m2. see, this way you can call the static methods from the interface into implementation classes. So let me run this one. See, the first one is I'm calling m1 and it was called the non-overridden method from the static method 1. And if you see, the second call is static interface m1, means from here the static interface m1 method. Okay, and if you see this one, static interface m2 method, static interface m2 method, static interface m2 method. So this is all about static methods in interface. Let's meet in the next session with a new topic. Thank you.